All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual readying to compete at WXC 93, which goes down on March the 15th. And a very exciting fight set to go down as TJ Koehler takes on Ty Wildmo per Tapology here, and some welterweight warfare. And great getting to have TJ on Bowks Talking Bouts for the first time. How are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. Looking forward to this fight. I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in, so ready for this.
Yeah, and what do you credit to that? Like, have there been certain distinct changes in this series of preparations that maybe differs from other fights?
I, Definitely. I'm sure he's probably watched my videos and be like, this guy's just a grappler that doesn't move his head, that can't stand up. Yeah, literally all I've been doing is working on my stand-up. The grappling has always been there. So he's not gonna know what to expect. The last time I competed was 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, that creates such an interesting set of dynamics because I feel like when fighters are coming off of that kind of a stretch, I feel like my focus on it more now, at least trying to, I guess, put myself in a fighter's shoes, is almost the uncertainty that comes with that because obviously people that fight at this level are diligently putting in the work. So it's more of a thing of shoring up these newer skills and sharpening the tools to where it's like, okay, I can't really tape study as much to figure out what they're gonna bring to the fight. That would seem like kind of an interesting thing that's, I guess, like pseudo in your favor to a certain extent, I guess, right?
For sure. Like, you can watch all the video on the opponent that you want to watch, but the last fight that he had it's on video is a long time ago. So I'm preparing for someone that is better. I'm not preparing for the guy that I saw on video. I'm preparing for someone that's better than that, and that's the person I want to be.
Yeah, just before we got into the recording, you were talking about, this person being like the kind of opponent that you want at this kind of juncture and just speaking highly of, what he brings to the table. Like, was this someone you were like pretty aware of before the bout offer came your way? It would seem like you're keen on this fight and kind of how it'll allow you to grow.
Yeah, they offered me this fight a while back when I had a rib injury, so now that I'm healthy, I'm taking this fight. I do think that it's a very tough fight back after going off of 5 years away, but like I said before, like it needs a lot more to beat this guy.
Yeah, and what is it about him that, this represents such like a quality win to you? Like, not saying anything negative about him per se, but just curious to get your perspectives on what this fight kind of represents to you.
For me, he's a D1 wrestler, so he's supposed to beat me at wrestling. So it means a lot. If I'm taking him down, I'm stuffing his takedown. That's huge. He throws great head kicks, and he's a very powerful, explosive guy. I just have to be careful, and I think where I can take this fight is the later rounds. He's gonna get tired. I'm gonna out wrestle him. I'm gonna outstrike him. I want to beat him everywhere. That's my goal.
Yeah, and like such a battle tested run you've had so far because I was checking out your record and the fact that your last couple rather fights were with Adam Fugit and Jared Ravel. An individual who went to the UFC and such a decorated BFL champion respectively between those two. Like, how much do you glean from those kind of experiences too? Like, a lot obviously to be taken away from the wins, and you began your pro career with like a 3-fight winning streak. But like, what do you glean from fighting guys, I guess, like at that level, and how much it serves to grow you?
It means a lot. Like, I can say, hey, yeah, I lost this guy, but he's in the UFC, and you know what? If we get a rematch down the road, it's going to be on. I think that, for example, Jared Rebel, like, I think that I just didn't show up on fight day that day. And if I show up, I'm going to beat this guy 10 out of 10 10 out of 10 times.
And it must be especially satisfying, too, because I was noticing that circa last October you were looking to get back to competition, but that bout got cancelled. I mean, just to say, I imagine you're, quite excited to now get the opportunity to get out there here.
Yeah, no, it was tough. It's been really hard to get fights. I finally got one, and then 1 week out, this guy pulls out, says that he's got some sort of head injury. I don't know. I didn't even know because nobody told me. I saw it on video for myself. Oh, okay, now I know he's pulling out. And he just fought like a month ago, so I don't know. I don't know why he pulled out, but I'll let that one go.
I guess I was going to ask, like, one of my questions was almost oriented to, like, what kind of strength of schedule you'd hope to have after this fight, but you talk about some of the difficulties even getting some of these fights locked in. Is that, like, fairly frustrating for you? Because, I mean, I imagine you want to have, like, maybe a certain number of fights, ideally, in the calendar year and not be, like, out of the competitive space for as long as you can. But, yeah, it seems like, based on what you're saying, there are those hindrances getting fights set up and all. Like, what are your thoughts on all of that? Is that kind of hard to manage sometimes, almost?
It's definitely hard getting fights. I definitely want to take the next fight seriously. But I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I'm 33 right now. I've been doing this since I was 21. He doesn't have the experience that I have. He's had a couple pro fights, and his record is a losing record. Mine's still a winning record. Like, I have more wins than I have losses as a pro. I was almost undefeated as an amateur. I definitely think that I have experience advantage on him. Maybe minus the wrestling, but I think that wrestling for MMA is different than, like, wrestling collegiate.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from in that sense. I guess, like, one of the things I kind of wanted to get some insights on too, because it seems like from like some of the aggregators out there, like Tapology and Sure Dog, it seems like you're out of that Gracie, Baja, Portland space. Is that still where you're predominantly training there?
No, I've been at Monster Fitness with my coach Diego for a few years now. Everything's okay with American Top Team. Like, they're a great gym and everything, but I just got offered a better opportunity, and that's what I've been taking.
Well, yeah, and cool to get insights from, different individuals as well and stuff like that. Like, how has the last few years been, like, training at this gym? Because I imagine, like, based on the timeline, last time you fought and what you're looking to do now, it would seem like you've almost been entirely at that space leading into this return fight here. So, yeah, kind of interesting, because I feel like some of the newer aspects of your game will probably be from that time you're spending at, Monster Fit and everything like that. So can you kind of, I guess, talk about how the experience has been there over the last few years in that space?
So a lot of the things that I neglected before, like head movement, using my hands up, footwork, like, that's all I've been focusing on. I wish I focused more on wrestling and jiu-jitsu as well, but I definitely train those aspects, but my focus has been striking, because that was why I went from 11 wins in a row stand with guys.
Well, that's so interesting because, I mean, obviously the success was there through that impressive streak across amateur and pro and a lot of submission finishes within that. It's just cool to hear that you were able to, I guess, analyze those setbacks and be like, hey, there's going to be some times where I can't get it to the ground and show that part of my game. I need to, like, shore up this aspect of my game in the event that I meet a fighter who's able to, negate the wrestling advances. So, I mean, that's cool you were able to, kind of have that look in the proverbial mirror and kind of, I guess, see that and then put the work into shoring it up and all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I prepare for a wrestler, prepare for a kickboxer. It's all the same. I just got to show up on fight day and be ready. Yeah.
And usually I ask fighters about what visualizations they may or may not be having as it relates to how they see, I guess, some aspects of the fight playing out. But because you've been off for a bit, I imagine the focus is mostly on just maybe like even getting out there and then kind of being adaptable with how the fight might present itself and responding in kind. Like, is that kind of more where you're at, like more of being in like a flow state with everything? I know you were talking about rather about wanting to show the well-roundedness in your game. Like, do you have a particular, I guess, reoccurring idea of how you see this fight ending, or is it more just being adaptable within the actual fight and all?
Definitely adaptable. I don't know what this guy's gonna come out trying to wrestle me. He's gonna come out trying to throw some crazy kicks. This guy throws crazy kicks. That's fun. But I'm gonna be prepared for a stand-up fight. I'm gonna be prepared for a wrestling fight. Wants to take it to the ground, that's fine. I just have to respect what he's good at. And I beat him.
Well, it's good.
Show up on fight day, I beat this guy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm wondering if you might have added anything into your preparations with that, because is it a thing you can even prepare for in a certain sense? Just I only mentioned that because you talked about the Jared Ravel fight and how you didn't feel like you necessarily showed up within that. Like, have you learned certain, I guess, performance enhancing techniques or certain like mindset shift that has informed, I guess, trying to be more present in the fight day itself, I guess?
So yeah, visualization is a huge thing for me. When I see myself succeeding, it's a lot easier to be like going into this fight feeling confidence. Yeah, visualization has been a huge key. And then just knowing that I'm in shape, like I'm in the best shape that I've been in, the strongest I've been, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting time for sure, and this WXC 93 card looks like a fun one on March 15th, and appreciate you making some time to, come on Bowks Talking Bouts and talk a bit about this upcoming fight with Ty Wildmo and everything, and yeah, just appreciate you having, or rather giving me the time to come on, man, but I was curious if maybe you had a final parting thought you wanted to add as we were kind of wrapping things up, though.
Oh, well, I just gotta show up on fight day. I'm gonna beat this guy. And it will mean a lot more to beat this guy than it'll be to beat my last opponent, for example. He's a good guy, but I'm gonna beat him. That's what I plan on doing.
Well, it's going to be an exciting fight, and appreciate you making the time to reiterate. Should be a great fight at WXC 93, and yeah, great return fight after a little bit, so I'll definitely be focusing on that on March 15th, but until then, TJ, you have a good rest of your day, and yeah, thank you for the insights.
Oh, you as well. Thank you for having me on it. I appreciate it.